Now, a new online platform is helping unpaid carers stay connected during lockdown. Mobilise launched last month and gives carers access to information and also the chance to meet for a virtual cuppa. Well, I'm joined now by James Townsend. He's Chief Executive and co-founder of Mobilise. It's the tech startup supporting those unpaid carers throughout the pandemic. Good afternoon, James. Good to talk to you. It's a pretty huge community, isn't it, that you're looking to support?
Yeah, so there are 7 million people in the UK who are unpaid carers. These are people who might be looking after a member of their family, a friend or a neighbour, and they were undertaking a pretty substantial role in any case, and that has been complicated by coronavirus very substantially. So it's a more difficult task now, but they're also finding that some of the support networks that they were previously relying on aren't available. So we're really pleased to be bringing them together on an online platform with a daily online cuppa for about 30 minutes, which people can access and share their experience and support each other with.
So that's basically a Zoom call, is it, where you've got lots of people who haven't met each other before and they can all come and chat and share worries, etc.?
Yeah, so it's video conferencing, and we facilitate it so that people can share some of the challenges and the anxieties that they have, but also some of the really practical tips that they're picking up about what works and which different techniques they're using to get through. And we say, let's be honest, stuff is really tough for people at the moment, particularly unpaid carers. So if you need to cry a bit, that's okay. But we want to make sure that you leave, before you leave, that we found something to laugh about as well. Because finding the positives in this kind of time is really important.
Yeah, indeed. Don't we all know it? And how many of the 7 million who are in that position of being an unpaid carer, how many of them have found your resource?
So over the last 3 weeks, we've grown that community to about 500. So the cuppa itself is a relatively small group so you don't feel swamped. And we facilitate that carefully to make sure it's a really welcoming and really positive space. But we've had thousands of people come across our website and access our daily e-support package, which shares practical advice and information.
Yeah, because I guess for people who are in this position, I mean, all of the concerns that we all have about the virus, they're amplified, aren't they? Because they're also looking after somebody who's vulnerable. So presumably they're really having to be very careful about isolating. They've got to worry about what happens if they themselves get sick.
Yeah, so there's two things that we're seeing as a real priority. One is the practical challenges, so getting your shopping in, or particularly prescriptions, which could be quite urgent now, but also the emotional pressure of looking after someone who will be potentially quite vulnerable to the disease and feeling the need to protect them. And the worry about what happens if something happens to you, if you contract the disease. And that's why it's really important for people to be in touch, supporting each other, and feeling part of a community. And that's what we're doing at Mobilise.
And what sort of stories are you hearing?
Well, there are obviously some really tough stories, but there's also some inspirational stories. We had somebody coming on the other day who's struggling with all sorts of things, but wanted to find a way that she could donate to her local food bank. And I think that is just an absolutely classic example of the way carers are really passionate about helping other people. And we want to help them support themselves as well, because self-care is really important to keep going.
OK, really good to talk to you. Really good as well, isn't it, to draw attention to that community of unpaid carers, because they're effectively a subsidy for the NHS by not using it. James Townsend, very good to talk to you. Thank you.